The Prog police are wrong. Welcome back to my channel, my friends. We need to talk. We need to talk about a very specific type of music fan. And this fan roams the comment sections with his mellotron and oversized ego and some copy of some obscure album from some Italian prog band they made in an abandoned monastery that sold 3,000 copies. And he wants to tell everybody what real prog is. And I'm talking about these prog gatekeepers. You've dealt with them, and you post a video about Pink Floyd or about Rush 2112 or some sort of a symphonic, brilliance um, of the Moody Blues, and they, like clockwork, crawl out from under their oversized cape to drop that oh so original sentence. That's not real prog. Pink Floyd. That's not real prog. Kansas? Oh, they're from America. That's not real prog. It's annoying. Relayer is truly prog. The Yes album wasn't truly prog, etc., etc., ad nauseum. Excuse me, not prog according to whom? Because if you look at the actual facts here, is it not prog according to Prog magazine? No, those are the bands that make the cover every time. Oh, well, that's not real prog. It's not prog according to progarchives.com, the literal holy database of the genre. Is it not prog according to every single comprehensive book ever written on the history of progressive rock? No. It's only not prog according to Gary from Ohio or Simon from Lancashire, who thinks prog can only be what you think it is and what you feel it is. It can only be some, by European, and they refuse to acknowledge any song under 12 minutes long that doesn't feature some aggressive flute solo. So I want to expose the lie before these types of passive aggressive prog gatekeepers, they come out. We want to expose the sheer audacity of these people. So let's do a little quick refresher on what progressive rock actually is. It's not some rigid military code, it's a philosophy. So historically, prog or progressive rock meets, we'll say, a specific few criteria. And usually it requires some sort of experimentation or exploration. It blends sometimes rock with jazz and classical or electrical structures. It electronic structures. I don't know. It demands concept albums. They tell a unified story, or sometimes it's just concepts within that album. Some of them, it's unconventional time signatures, that you're not going to hear on the radio. Sometimes it showcases instrumental virtuosity, or uses non-traditional rock instrumentation, mellotrons and synthesizers and full orchestral arrangements, or it embraces like a long extended multi-part epics, one sidelong epics. But above all, it requires the sheer audacity to reject 3 standard minute pop formulas in favor of a pure narrative and a musical ambition. They have ambition, these prog artists. But if a band checks those boxes, typically they're playing prog rock, they're playing progressive rock. So do you know what the progressive in progressive rock stands for? Well, it's not left-wing politics. No, it's a progression beyond the normal boundaries of rock and roll. 4/4 beat, 3-minute pop song with 3 chords and a super singable melody and chorus. You know, a very popular hook. Something that hooks you. But let's look at our biggest, definitely not prog casualties, and I'm gonna start with Pink Floyd. The gatekeepers love to claim they're just space rock, or they're more like atmospheric, uh, classic rock, right? Because a multi-album run of concept records like Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Animals, The Wall. Yeah, that's totally standard top 40 pop music right there. Because writing a 23-minute suite like Echoes or Atom Heart Mother, using 7/4 time signatures in hits like Money, or 19 other songs where they've got different time signatures. Yeah, that's something that Gumma. Yeah, that's something that's real, popular. Pink Floyd didn't, they didn't define, uh, uh, they didn't, they didn't fit the definition of prog. Okay, they literally defined the scale of its ambition and mastered the art of long form musical epic. That is part of progressive rock. That's part of prog. The majority of Floyd's work between 1969 and 1979 is full of proggy goodness that these people don't see. I mean, you don't even have to be talking about Shine On Part 5. You can go back to tracks like Summer 68 or Pillow of Winds. If you don't think these tracks are progressive, then you're not a musician. You're just an armchair music tyrant. Okay, then we have Rush. The gatekeepers say, "Oh, well, they're just a hard rock power trio." Neil Peart was writing lyrics uh, that these libertarian classical mythology, sci-fi futurism. While he's playing a drum kit the size of a small apartment complex. Geddy Lee, some people don't like his voice, but he's a fantastic bassist. He's playing a bass with synthesizers and foot pedals, and while he's singing in a completely different time signature than the rest of the band's playing. I mean, if Cygnus X1 or 2012 isn't progressive, or 2112 isn't progressive rock, then those words have lost all meaning. And we should all just stop talking about it. And don't even get me started on the Moody Blues or Kansas. The Moody Blues, merged a rock band with a full symphony orchestra in 1967. This is like laying the brick foundation for symphonic prog. Before most of these gatekeepers were even born. And then let's talk about Kansas. Well, Kansas is from the United States. Yeah, and Kansas took British prog complexity and infused it with American energy and gave us Carry On My Wayward Son. And this track has more rhythm changes and technical instrumental work in its intro than most of these modern rock bands can manage in their entire discography. So when we're talking about that, it's like I said in the video about King Crimson. When you can take complexity and you can marry it to mainstream appeal, you're doing something magical here. So why do these gatekeepers, why does the prog police keep doing this? Why do they try to kick the pillars of the genre out of the house? That those bands help build. Is it just elitism? For what? What are you elite? Who are you? To the gatekeeper, prog just cannot, be popular. If the general public likes a song, it loses its label. If a band sells out stadiums, the prog police can't can't feel intellectually superior for listening to them anymore. It's like they want prog to be some secret society. They want it to be some obscure, unapproachable uh, club where you have to pass a written exam on King Crimson's time signatures and Lark's tongues and aspect before you can even get through the door. But the lie is officially dismantled. Okay, it's a lie. You know who isn't prog? The Sex Pistols, Hank Williams Jr., AC/DC, Katy Perry, Jay-Z, ABBA. Those bands are not prog. The biggest, most respected resources on the planet dealing with progressive music, the writers, the historians, the archivists, and most of the fans all agree. Pink Floyd, Rush, Kansas, the Moody Blues, these are all prog bands and prog icons. Okay? So the next time somebody leaves one of these comments telling you a legendary band isn't real prog, don't argue with them. Don't even waste your time. Just remind yourself that some people have no life, they need attention, and just enjoy your music. Because music was meant to expand your mind, not shrink it. And, I just want to say that Pink Floyd is prog, Rush, all these bands are prog. So whether they like it or they don't like it, it's one of these things that it's not even worth arguing. So if you like this video, leave a comment below. Let me know what's the most ridiculous, that's not prog, take you've ever heard online. Subscribe to my channel. It really helps out. But most of all, I do want you to like the video. I do want you to give me your opinion. Give me your opinion. And yes, please subscribe, but give me your opinion. I want to know what you think, about these things, about the prog police. So, until next time, you guys take care.